Hello viewers and welcome back to the channel and another roundup of quite interesting tech news from the world of cycling. And we have today a first look at the brand new giant TCR Advanced Pro, which has just arrived for testing, some very snazzy Bianchi limited edition road bikes, bike chains possibly getting more expensive thanks to new tariffs, a new safest helmet in the world claim from POC, and Specialized to launch some $600 shoes, which leads into this week's topic, expensive bike upgrades we don't actually need. But before we dive in a new segment called Innovation or Gimmick, you decide, Burt Composites, who makes some super lightweight carbon fiber saddles, has launched in the last few days a disc brake cooling fin that attaches to the fork of the bike. It's made from carbon fiber, so it only weighs 4 grams, and claimed to help keep your disc brakes cooler. Yeah, not so sure. Is it April 1st already? You decide. Drop a comment down below. So let's dive in. We'll start with some very spendy shoes. So Specialized in the last few days has launched a brand new top-of-the-range S-Works Ares 2 shoes, which cost an eye-watering $600. Ouch. We'll come back to the price in a moment, because the other big story is that Specialized has finally recognized that most cycling shoes and their shoes are too narrow for the wide feet that most people have. So to solve this, they have developed a new last, the foundation of the shoe, that gives more space around the toes. So the front of the shoe, the toe box area, has more volume than the old shoes. There's also the usual body geometry technology inside the shoe as well, the various wedge support and a metatarsal button. And this change results in a claimed 44% reduction in forefoot pressure, which makes you wonder how uncomfortable the old shoes were. I don't know, I never tried them. But it's a claim of a 7-watt increase in lactate threshold performance thanks to new shoes, which does raise an eyebrow or two. I mean, how on earth do you measure such an improvement from a pair of shoes, and can a pair of shoes really lead to such a claimed improvement? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. But of course, the other big story is the price, $600, which is a lot of money. Don't need me to tell you that for a top-end shoe, but still cheaper than the $1,000 Maverick shoes from about 8 years ago. And it's worth remembering as well, worth me pointing out that Specialized does offer much cheaper shoes. The Torch one is $100 at the other end of the range, so nobody being forced to buy new top-end shoes at all. As the price of the brand new shoes, which brings us to today's topic, the eye-watering price of high-end cycling gear. Now, spending $600 on a pair of cycling shoes sounds absurd, right? But at the end of the day, it's your money. If somebody wants to spend their money on these crazy expensive shoes, who am I to judge them for that? Knock yourselves out. But here's the thing, these products weren't redesigned for us regular riders, non-sponsored riders. So Specialized, and most companies are the same, these advanced shoes were developed for the pros, the athletes they sponsor, the team they sponsor, to give them every possible advantage, every marginal gain, every watt they can save to give them a competitive advantage over their rivals and try and help them win races and get all the kudos from winning races, and not redesigned for us mere mortals. And all these cutting edge materials, wind tunnel testing, relentless R&D, computing power doesn't come cheap. But what's really interesting is that Specialized probably isn't banking on selling many of these shoes at all. Their real volume in shoes is the cheaper end of the market, the affordable Torch range, which starts at $100, and there's some good options in the mid-range, which costs way less than the S-Works models. And that's one of the quirks of pro cycling. It's one of the only sports where you can buy the exact same equipment as the pros, not replica equipment, but actually the same equipment as the pros, the wheels, the bikes, the shoes, and everything. In fact, the UCI even has a rule that requires teams to race on commercially available equipment, preventing an arms race where only the wealthiest teams have access to the best equipment. But that doesn't stop brands like Specialized from developing high-end products at high-end prices and slapping on a high-end price tag to match as well. And yes, there's a lot of marketing hype behind all these products. It's all about the halo effect, shouting about technological improvements, making the world know they are making the best products in the world and making it all seem irresistible. But here's a bit where we all benefit. This cutting-edge technology always trickles down from the top down to mid-range and eventually the entry level. And it's in the mid-range, I believe, where today's premium innovation eventually land at a more sensible price. That's where us mere mortals truly benefit from all the evolution of high-end gear. And I do wonder if the UCI rule is really a good thing for cycling and for products on sale today. Would Specialized, without this rule, even release such an expensive shoe and just make custom shoes for its pro riders, or does it benefit from selling us the same equipment as the pros use, but with a big price tag? So, is it all just hype, or does a trickle-down effect make it worthwhile? Let me know your thoughts on the topic by dropping a comment down below. The world's oldest bike company, Bianchi, is celebrating its 140th anniversary, a massive milestone for the iconic Italian brand indeed. And to mark the occasion, they aren't celebrating by lighting 140 candles on a cake, but releasing limited edition versions of the Ultra RC and Specialissima RC road bikes, with just 140 units of each being available. These exclusive bikes feature a stunning photochromic finish inspired by precious gems extending across the frame, handlebars and seat posts. They come fully spec'd with the best equipment as you would expect, Shimano Dura Di2 and Bianchi's own carbon wheels, priced from €12,700 up to €14,000. Now that is one stylish way to celebrate your birthday. It's a time to stock up on spare chains. Tariffs have been the buzzword in the headlines for the last few months, and now they could impact the price of the humble bicycle chain, something so essential that we all take for granted, but not when the price goes up. A 25% tariff on steel and aluminium will apply to bicycle chains according to Bicycle Brain, I'll put a link down below, and chains from China will face a total 70% tariff. Ouch. But here's something surprising. China isn't actually the biggest source of imported bike chains. The top supplier is actually Portugal, followed by Japan and Taiwan. I didn't know that before making the video. So now might be the perfect time to grab a few extra chains for your bikes before prices possibly go up. Now, did you watch Milan-San Remo last weekend? Wow, what a race. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen the highlights yet, but definitely go and check out the highlights. I'll put a link down below. But what a race, and what a fast race as well. An average speed of over 46 km per hour and 50 km per hour up the climbs. I mean, they're not steep climbs, but that is insanely quick. And that speed of the course shows in the gearing choices by the top level pros, with both Tadej Pogačar and Matej van der Poel gearing up, sticking with double chain sets but going up to bigger chain rings than the standard 53-39. And here's the interesting thing on a few other team bikes. Given how fast the race is and how they've pretty much been the whole time on the big ring and not using the little ring at all, just there in case, why carry the extra weight of that chain ring and the aero drag of the front mech and the two chain rings? And a few riders on different teams use a 1x setup instead of a 2x setup, including Tom Pidcock. So Tom, with SRAM Red AXA group set, opted for a 54-tooth chainring with a small chain guide just in case, and an 1133 cassette with 165mm crank arms. Also interesting or odd that he's on the Addict and not the more aerofoil for such a fast race. And given how fast the course is, it's no surprise that a few riders opted for 1x, a bit more aero, a bit less weight, and no chance of the chain falling off if you do change down the little ring, which I doubt they did in this race at all. But what's interesting, I think, is how we're seeing more riders, more teams opt for 1x on certain courses, on certain races where they don't actually need the front mech, the two chain rings, and go for simplicity and the potential marginal gains of the bigger chain ring, that improved chain line, chain efficiency, and aero and less weight on courses where they just don't need the little ring. So quite interesting. 1x is definitely getting better. We've got 12 speed, 13 speed now as well, and 1x is more useful for more courses than ever before compared to 1x10 and 1x11. And interesting to see riders now using 1x a lot more frequently than before. Not using it all the time, but using it where it makes a better case than it did in the past. Now, how safe is your helmet? Because POC has launched 2 brand new helmets for road and mountain bike, which have received the highest score in the Virginia Tech Lab testing. This is really the only independent testing we have for helmets in the world right now, so definitely worth paying some attention to, I think. Now, safety is clearly the #1 job of a helmet, but these days, brands talk more about weight, ventilation, and aerodynamics and styling, and less about safety. So how has the helmet achieved such a high score? Well, according to POC, it's both the use of a carbon wing inside the helmet, which supports more impact force across the whole helmet whilst keeping the weight low, and also combined with variable density EPS foam to create a crumble zone construction in key areas of high impact force. Naturally, the helmet is also offering good aero and ventilation properties as well as required of a high-end helmet, costing 370 quid. Yikes, a lot of money. I'd love to know if you buy a helmet based on the Virginia Tech lab testing, and if not, what's the key factor behind your helmet buying decision? Is it safety? Is it fit? Is it style? Is it pro endorsement? Is it aero, weight? Let me know the reason behind choosing the helmet you currently wear and are looking to buy in the future by dropping a comment down below. And lastly, we finished today's video with a first look at the brand new Giant TCR Advanced Pro, which has literally arrived today in for testing. So this is the 10th generation TCR, long running model in the company's range. It was launched last March. I was at the launch event and rode the range topping SL. Link to that video down below in case you missed it. So TCR covers 3 levels of model. There's the Advanced Pro, this one, and the SL at the top. And they share the same key features. The carbon fiber blend changes to suit different price points and weight. But this is still the Pro. I think it's a sweet spot in the range and a sweet spot across the entire sort of road bike space. So nice lightweight carbon frame. We have a regular seat post, well, not round seat post, but a non-integrated seat post like on the SL. And a big feature on the new TCR is the internal routing, like on their Propel launch a few years ago. So no external routing, which was a bit of a detracting feature for lots of people watching my review of the previous generation TCR. So this model costs £6,500, but the Pro range starts at £4,000. The same frame, but different parts. On this bike, we have a Shimano Ultegra Di2 group set, a real working man's group set, I think, with Giant's own power meter. We then have their own SLR1 carbon wheels, Cadex tyres, and a contact SLR carbon fiber handlebar, alloy stem, and a carbon seat post. I'll put the bike on the scales and see what this medium large with no pedals actually weighs, real world weight for you. So really excited to see how the bike rides and see how it compares to both the range topping SL I rode last year and also my own Advanced Pro, which I've been riding for 4 years now, which I still love and still ride in the background. I don't feature on the channel much anymore, but it might make an appearance very soon. We run that one by as an experiment. So really keen to see how this compares to both that range topping version and my previous generation bike and whether it's worth me upgrading from my old TCR to a new one here, or whether it's not really an upgrade worth making. So yeah, it looks really good. I like the paint job, comes in 2 colors as well. Let me know your thoughts on this new TCR and if it's on your shopping list this year for a new bike by dropping a comment down below. I'll put a link to all my TCR content. There'll be lots of videos here on the channel over the last few years on the TCR. The bike I like a lot. It ticks a lot of boxes: price, performance, value for money, features, ride quality. It's all there. It all delivers. But will the new bike deliver? Well, stay tuned to find out. Full review coming very soon. Hit that subscribe button down below to make sure you don't miss it.